I think that it is a good topic to discuss because it's top of mind given how the week and a half is going, but also just due to some of the new content we have coming out that talks about how we do account-based management for our clients. And that's more an initiative that's been driven by, championed by, and primarily managed by you. So I wanted to ask you, what are the benefits of account-based management?
Well, it's really twofold, and it applies to both us and the client. I never like to look at any singular project for a client as a project. We need to make money or lose money or XYZ on this specific thing. I like to look at the overall value of a relationship over the course of a given year, because sometimes a client doesn't have the budget for us to do the job we know we can do. I don't want to be in a situation where I have to say, we can't do as well as we could because you can't pay us enough. That just feels gross to me. And we have that common language of this feels gross.
Yeah.
Anytime something feels gross, we don't want it to work that way. And we're very lucky to have clients because you could take advantage of that. Someone could, absolutely. They never have, though. We've never had a client take advantage of how we do business in that way. So much to the point where we've done work for a client where it didn't really pan out for them to use it for whatever reason. And we say, yeah, we're not going to bill for it. Don't worry about it. No big deal. Because granted, we're a business. We need to be profitable. That is, without that, there is nothing else. You don't have a company if you aren't producing revenue and from that revenue generating a profit. You don't have anything. You can't help anyone. But once you achieve that, you can say to yourself, what other good can I do here? How else can I help? Where can our expertise be applied? And you and I are problem junkies. That's one of our biggest problems, is that we're problem junkies.
Yeah.
So someone comes and goes, I can't figure this out. We're like, damn, we can.
Yeah.
Because figuring out stuff is fun.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that beyond doing surgery on a human being, and even that I might question, the hubris of our desire to solve problems and experience new things is something that would cause us to work with Bob NASA and fix the space plane shuttle.
Bob NASA is a recurring character.
Good old, those words he put on those sites are as true today as when he wrote them back in 1969.
It's true. For me, on the creative side, it's so freeing to manage these accounts holistically, because on the idea end, I don't have to back away from anything I want to explore. So it creates this opportunity for me to not just sit back and go, all right, given the budget constraints in this individual instance, I have to do X, Y, or Z. Instead, oftentimes what I'm doing is I'm calling you and saying, this is the right thing to do. This fits into the narrative and I want to do it. And more often than not, you're like, yeah, great. It's all about the relationship, and it's all about the ability to, because most agencies have that setup where they need to be mindful.
There's a check against the budget.
There is, and that keeps the work, or the idea anyways, I won't say the work, because there's really great work out there, and there's really great ideas too, but it keeps the idea that, what's that saying?
Grounded.
A mile wide and an inch deep versus an inch wide and a mile deep, which we tend to go deeper because I feel the freedom to.
So how do you, obviously, high level, what our clients do with us. You probably every now. I don't know if you look at our quarterly reports or our year-end ones, or at this point, we all know our lanes. We know what we're doing, and we don't have to worry about those things. And again, we're really blessed from that standpoint to not need to worry about those things. But how do you? Okay, let me ask it in a different way. I think you've never showed up in those conversations with just the most insane idea that they could never pay for. And I don't mean, oh, this one costs $10 million, but even something that's pushing the realm of what they could pay for. You seem to have a very good sense or very good control. Or it's odd that you're not in the budgets, yet you have a sense for what they could do. Does that come from somewhere?
Yeah, it comes from the salad days of having to make whatever crazy idea I came up with. So there's always a check against my ambition, because it's like, okay, now it's time. Like in the idea space, I'm free to envision whatever I want. But then when I get to the reality space, I have to back up what my idea is with whether or not it can actually be made. Because there's nothing worse than going back to client and saying, yeah, we thought we could, but we can't. And we've done that a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But we've done that with them knowing that this is experimental.
But they've appreciated both that we tried and the honesty. And it's funny when you mention, like, oh, those salad days, which does that mean you're eating salad?
I actually don't know the origin of that term, except that I know it refers to like the starting, like the heyday of yeah.
Okay, so I pass on salad personally.
Yeah, you're not a salad guy.
Yeah, unless we're putting like blue cheese and bacon on it, then I'm a buyer. But anyways, so where I think I was going with kind of what you injected into my mind was, it reminded me of Credit Card Murphy. And I look back at that piece of work, and it's old. Geez, that's got to be 11 years old, 10 years old now, somewhere in that realm. And would and could we do that today? Because that piece of work was you and me in a room recording with our voices, with our mouths, and with the writing of all that stuff, the idea and all. We're ingrained in most, if not all, of the ideas at JXM, but we're not making them at 11 p.m. at night on a Saturday on a Thai food high. It's a different score, but it's funny to look back at those things, or the very early claymation stuff that you did.
Yeah.
When you look at those things, and to the outside observer, like they may or may not stand up, but to me, they hold a very special place in my heart of the stuff that was that. Where did that? I think we're far enough along where we can talk about some of these lore things that happened, where we went into a credit union when we had never worked with a credit union before, and we needed an idea, and it was, hey, 5 videos targeting millennials. And we brought everything, claymation, animation, we had stop motion, we had that angry orange kind of overlay thing, so many different things, the musical that we did. And that was 5 ideas all right there. We just poured it all out. And then it's like, oh boy, now we got to make this.
Yeah.
And I look back at you writing music and me writing lyrics and all of these things, and there's a lot of fun in all of that stuff. And maybe there'll be a world where we can do some of that stuff again. But it seems that now when you're tasked with that, you're drawing on those past experiences to say, yeah, here's the green zone, here's the yellow zone of I'm pretty sure, and there's no way we should touch this at all.
Yeah, it's I'm very lucky to be in the position of deciding what we do and having the ability to usually produce it if I have to. So I always back out of something and go, if I was left holding this, could I produce? We promised something and I want to deliver on that. And I want to deliver it to the highest quality it possibly can be. And if things fall apart or they don't work, can I figure it out? And sometimes it's right to go, because of that, we're going to stay in the green zone. And then there's some times where it's like, let's lean into the relationship and let's do some serious R&D. We talked to one of our clients about building out augmented reality for their business, for their product, and we did it. It took a long time to really finesse it to the point that I thought it was passable by my standards. And just as we did that, there was another way to do it that they discovered that made more sense for their business model.
And also point out, they didn't pay dime one there. So
Right.
there's a perfect example of that account-based management. We did all of that work, and they never paid for that. For two reasons. One, they never truly benefited from it, number one. And number two, we learned so much from it. And again, feels gross. Making a client pay for you to learn feels gross.
Yeah, and I think, but those are the moments that we can really push. And what we've done, I think, over the last couple of years is allowed for the opportunity of that more and more by leaning into these relationships and saying, we want to try this for you. We don't know where it's going to go. We're right on the edge of this technology. Everybody's right on the edge of this technology, and it could work or it could not work. And the goodwill that comes from that experimentation, the idea that somebody here is thinking about the future of how their brand gets presented beyond just the obvious stuff. It's like, no, I think this augmented reality piece would benefit you guys. And so we want to try it and we want to experiment with it. What the client ends up remembering is not that we did it, it took a while, and we ultimately didn't launch it. He remembers the process of that and being shocked by it and taking that AR piece and showing it to all his employees and showing it to his friends and wowing people on the weekend by being like, check this out. I can pull up one of our buildings right here in this empty parking lot and show it to you. So there's a whole side of what we do that sometimes doesn't even see the light of day, but matters a lot to the relationship.
Yeah. And I think that ultimately it goes back to one of the things that you always said way back when we first started working together, which is usually doesn't matter how long it takes, but it does matter how good it is.
Yeah, which I think is just a riff on Maya Angelou. Like, people don't remember something about...
People never remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, it's that same thing. It's like they're excited about the future of what we're doing. And again, sometimes it's just these guys are thinking about the future of my company.